This is Chicago. Doors open on the left at Chicago.
Welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Chicago.
This is Chicago. Doors open on the left at Chicago.
Welcome to Chicago.
Welcome to Chicago. You tune into the TCSF podcast with Big Z in the house. We got JC Dynasty Fantasy Football, and we're coming straight to you from the 606 Media Studios, powered by True Chicago Sports Fans. This is episode 302. I mean, we passed 300 a while ago, but episodic is 302. We're fired up to dive into everything that makes Chicago great. Remember to check out 606 Media, your ultimate source for all things Chicago. Swing by 606media.com to snag your official TCSF Pod t-shirt and check out our exclusive for the love of sports merchandise line. Show off your Chicago pride. If you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, where else we're on TikTok live today, messing with that. We're on Twitch. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that bell button, so that way you know anytime we are live and in charge right there. We got some people already on the Twitch channel. What up, people? And again, make sure you subscribe to the rest of the 606 family, True Chicago Sports Fans, in Podsicated with myself, Big Z, where we dive deep into fascinating life stories, engaging discussions, and insightful interviews and plenty of humor. We also have the No Water on the Weekend with Steven. This should be coming back on during the summer. Steven is re-ramping the show at the moment, and we'll be back during the summer. So check out that. You can always go back and check out the rest of his archived episodes. And you can also check out any archived episodes on 606media.com. So let's strap it in, get ready for an unforgettable ride through the rest of Chicago sports culture and beyond. Let's get started with breaking news from the Chicago Bulls. The Chicago Bulls have hired Bryson Graham. He has been named the executive vice president of basketball operations. He comes from the Atlanta Hawks organizations. He spent about looks like 14, 15, 16 years out there. Started as an intern and has moved all the way up to GM, and now is the executive vice president of basketball operations for the Chicago Bulls. It's been crazy because the Bulls have fired Arturas Karnisovas a month ago. Bryson spent the season as Atlanta senior vice president of basketball operations after a 15-year run in New Orleans front office, and saw him go from being an intern to a general manager. The Hawks went 46-36 before losing to New York, who's getting New York is dog walking Philadelphia right now. They're up 25 in the first round. So this is a surprising hire just because there were some other names out there. We thought the guy from Minnesota. We heard a bunch of different names, and now we have a president of basketball operations. And according to our friend Casey Johnson, he put out a couple tweets. Point of references is that Bryson Graham will be given leeway and resources to build out the front office as he sees fit. He does have ties to Brian Hagan and JJ Polk from New Orleans. Has worked with Pat Connolly's brother, Tim in New Orleans, but Graham has all autonomy on the structure and the hires. Casey said he spent time on the phone with people inside, but most people inside, but mostly outside the organization of Bryson Graham's hiring. He's sampling. So pretty much what they were saying about him was he's a great listener. He brings people together. He's a very good collaborator. He's a straight shooter. He knows he doesn't have all the answers and is comfortable using the depth and help of his organization, the people he hires around him. So, JC, what you got?
Not much. As you know, I had a very busy day. For the listeners, my uncle passed away and had to attend his funeral today. He was a lifelong Chicago sports fan, and we actually buried him today with Bears flag, Cubs flag, Bulls flag, and he was a season ticket holder for DePaul basketball from 1979 to the present. So him and my father, lifelong DePaul basketball fans.
Ray Meyer fan.
Went to many games with them as a child. you know, special memories. That said, you know, earlier today, because I was attending the funeral and everything, I had seen some tweets on X that we were looking at the Timberwolves. I think it was Matt Lloyd.
Matt Lloyd.
And
Yeah.
then he was going to bring one of the assistants, and then here I am, like 30 minutes before we go on air, finding out that no, we hired somebody from Atlanta. So now it's like, okay, what do we know about this guy? You know what? I hope the Bulls finally have done something proper. And you know what? Having somebody that works from the bottom up, from intern up, I hope it pans out for us. I don't know much about the gentleman. Um, we'll see. As long as he's someone that can admit that he doesn't know everything and that he's going to lean on the people that he hires and brings in, and he's gonna listen to consensus. Hey, I'm all for it. It's better than what we had where guys are hiding behind doors and we've never seen the executive who of basketball operations. All we ever saw was AK, and we had no idea what the hell they were doing.
No, you had AK, and Acme, Mark Eversley, just literally hanging out in behind the curtain and pushing levers. I mean, moving levers and pushing buttons, and hey, don't look over here, and put all their eggs
Wizard
in
of
one
Oz type shit.
Yeah, it was. They put all their eggs in one basket and then never deviated from that one plan that fell apart within a couple of weeks, or let's say a month into the first iteration of what they thought they had, and never pivoted from there. Never made a trade that made sense, had any significance. Wasn't able to say, you know what, let's move Vooch, let's move Demar, let's move Levine, let's move Kobe before it's too late. While they still have some notoriety, some juice in that orange, and
Well,
just never.
not even that. How about moving them for the proper capital?
Oh,
I mean, that's a whole nother issue, is that, we had some of these guys where we had first round picks attached to them, and then we kept holding and holding and holding, and then we end up getting freaking trash in
yeah,
return. I mean, how
total
many
trash.
second round picks do we have? 11 or 14, or I don't even know.
It's way
I
too
know we
many.
have
Yes.
and great. You know what? We have a lot of second round picks, and that's going to help us rebuild this team, because right now we have nothing. But I said last week, I really think that when it comes to the Bulls, that they need to trade out of the first, whatever pick they have, trade out, get 3 future firsts. I mean, get draft capital, because we're gonna suck for a while anyway. I mean, unless God forbid we get the number 1 overall, which I guess there's
I
always
really,
a chance.
I know we talked about this last week, JC, and about moving that first round pick and getting more assets to have a significant future that has meaning. This also gives time to the GM to evaluate the talent that he does have on the roster, and gets to see what's good, what's not good. Let's move on from this person. Let's move on from that person. Let's bring in this person. Obviously, Io had said, he had mentioned it this week, that he still leaves the door open to coming back. Obviously, because he's going to get a big payday. Obviously, because it's a new organization as far as the general manager
New
and
coach,
yeah,
a new coach that'll bring in a new system that
right.
might allow Io to play the ball that he plays.
Yes.
I Billy Donovan played this run and gun 3-point shoot kind of style of basketball. Great.
Right. He was running the Golden State offense, and we don't have Golden State players.
Yeah, but Io was a mid-range game player. And, that's the style of ball that, great. When we start drafting some of these guys that can hit threes consistently at, 30% plus, great. We can play a run and gun 3-point style offense, but that's not what we have on the roster. And you're trying to fit square pegs in, triangle holes. Doesn't work, um,
Yeah,
so
it was bad. Go ahead.
we'll see. I mean, again, I don't know much about this new guy from the Hawks, but you know what? Hopefully, he brings some respect back to the front office, because I honestly believe that the front office that we had, they were disrespected by the league. Nobody cared. Nobody offered the Bulls a good package or a good trade offer, because
Why
they
would you? Yeah, you know you're desperate. They know you're desperate. So why would I give you anything to your benefit? Because you're gonna take
not even
whatever you can get.
desperate. It's basically like, oh wait, watch what I can pull here on this guy. This guy's a freaking idiot. That's how I feel like every team looked at the Bulls, and it was like we overpaid for guys, and they got underpaid in return.
Yeah.
And again, we could have had a first for Lonzo. We could have had a first for Caruso. We could have had, was it a first for Drummond?
Yeah, a while ago. Yeah.
Like there were plenty of guys that we could have gotten high capital in return, and yeah, not so much. No,
No.
we're gonna make the play-in guys in ninth place, and we're gonna win it. Like, no, you're not. Come on.
No, you're not. No, you're not. We've seen what happens to those teams. Graham does inherit a team with two promising stars, right? We talked about a little bit last week with Josh Giddey and Modest Buzelis, two really young guys in their young 20s on young contracts. They're 1 and 2. They're both in their first year of their contract that just happened. They also have 2 first-round draft picks. Okay, so like JC was saying, maybe you do trade that first one if it's top 4 and get 2 more later on down the road. You know, maybe a 27 and a 29 or 2030 first round draft pick. And
Yeah, I
one.
don't know. I don't know how basketball works, because again, I'm a huge NFL guy. Like, I don't know, in NBA they trade back, or is it trade out completely?
You can do both.
Okay. I assumed it would be both, but for me, again, if we can move from like a 4 spot back to like 10, so we still get 2 guys in the top 15, and we pick up 2 future second or 2 future first, I'd be ecstatic. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those, like, again, I understand top 4 talent level in the top 4, better hit percentage. I understand that. But overall, when you look at the Bulls roster, we kind of had this conversation last week of, do we trade Buzelis? Do we trade Giddey and go full rebuild? Because let's be honest, that's really what we need, is almost a full rebuild. And then you're sitting there wasting guys, best years. When
You don't think they can turn it around in 2 to 3 years while still having those guys on those cheap contracts?
it really depends. I mean, if we're tanking like we did at the end of the year, like we put up a terrible team, yeah, I think we can turn it around in 2 to 3 years. But it's one of those where by the time we turn it around, Giddey and Buzelis are going to need to be paid. And then it becomes an issue of, if we pay them, then that hamstrings the team financially. You know what I mean? Because, and don't get me wrong, we've paid Giddey already, and Buzelis, he's if he keeps developing the way he has been, absolutely he's going to be worth the money. However,
NBA teams can trade up 7 years in the future.
It's the Connor Bedard of the Blackhawks situation, right?
Yes.
How long can these guys lose and keep losing and be on a losing team before they lose their minds? You know what I mean? Because even at the end of the year, Buzelis and Giddey, even though they were playing very well, do you think they're going to want to go through that for another 2 years?
No. I think
you just going out there and getting your handed to you night after night after night. I've played sports and I've been on bad teams. And when you're on a bad team, man, and you're a passionate, about what you're doing, it's hard to swallow losses.
Yeah, it is very hard to follow. It kind of kills your drive to do better on the field. I mean, we seen it with the White Sox, right? When it all started going really bad and it became a bad team when they did that rebuild, and then they got hampered by getting a horrible manager that was sleeping at the wheel, and they got no help after that. We seen what losing can do. No, we're not hiring Vinny Del Negro as your next Bulls head coach. Absolutely not. Good one, Israel. Good one. No. So I mean, I think they can do it. Let's say they get a top 4 pick in that first round lottery pick. You can get a game changer in that top 4. Who is it going to be? It depends on what you want to do. Hopefully, it's not a guard because we have plenty of those. You're going to need a combo forward, a guy that Patrick Williams should have been. That's what you need in there.
And I don't know. Here, let's look it up. 2026 NBA big board. Just because, I mean, really, what we need a center, and we've needed a center for years.
Yes.
Darren Peterson, point guard, Kansas. AJ Bensta, shooting small forward, BYU. Cameron Boozer, power forward. I'm sorry?
I mean, no, if you get the number 1 pick, you go get Cameron Bruiser, a power forward center. I mean, you can also go Caleb Wilson, another power forward center. Again, both of them are 6'9", 6'10", respective. They're 18 and 19 respectively. I mean, again, they're young. They're super young, dude. They're freshmen. They're 19. I mean, you're gonna go baby Bulls at this point if you get one of those two. Just keep it going down list.
I guess the problem with Boozer is, can he play center? Because I mean, Buzelis is Buzelis power forward or
Buzelis
and more of a power forward, isn't he?
No, Buzelis plays small forward.
Okay.
Tim Floyd, good one. Nice, isn't
No, because I'm just curious, like if you could put Boozer and Buzelis on the floor together. I was just thinking they were same position, but yeah, if Boozer can play more of a center role at 6'9", 250, I mean, 100%, I would put those two on the court together.
Yeah, your guards on the Chicago Bulls, you have Colin Sexton, Josh Giddey, Mac McClung, Rob Dillingham, Yuki. At forward, you have Leonard Miller. Zach Collins is a forward center. Nick Richards.
Otherwise, from the big board I'm looking at, the next power forward / center is at 15, and that's Chris Senek Jr. Out of UH. He's 6'11", 240. He's 19.4 years old. Averaging 13.8 points and 11.4 rebounds. So get me that guy. 11 rebounds. That's something we haven't had on the team in years. I'll take that all day long.
You also have Ade Mara, center from Michigan. He's a junior, 7'3", 21 years old. That's what I'm talking about. Ade Mara.
Oh yeah. They got him listed as 24.
They got everybody's gonna have different. Yeah, everyone's gonna have different rankings.
Oh
but
yeah.
Remember, you do have 2 picks, and let's
Correct.
say he's ranked
I'm
from
looking like, okay, if we got the 4th overall pick, because again, in my opinion, losing Vooch and everything, who do we really have at the center position, right? So center is a need. So to me, like I said, if you don't get the number 1 overall pick for Boozer, then really, going down the list here, you got Chris Senek Jr., who they have as the number 1 on the big board at power forward center at 15. So great. If we're picking at 15, and Senek is listed at 15. That's great. So it's like, okay, what would be in your opinion, what do you think would be the next position of need after center? Say we can get center at 15. What would you take at 4?
Do you take the best player available?
Okay.
The biggest game changer that can be added to the Chicago Bulls, and then you figure out the rest from there. Because if you can get your center at 15 via the Portland pick, and that's the 7-3 big guy, let's do it. I'm pretty sure there's other guys on the big board that would fit as far as centers. Like you said, did you mention Steinbach, 6'11" freshman from Washington. There's another one, I can't remember his name. Is it Chris Senek, junior power forward center?
Yeah, Senek is the guy I was listing. Would be at 50, according to the big board that I'm looking at from tankathon.com. They have Senek listed at 15. And he would be like the true first center. Because they have Boozer listed as a power forward.
Right.
And then, like I said, they have. So you got Boozer, Peterson, Dybonsta, Caleb Wilson, Kingston Flemings, Darius Akuf Jr., Keaton Wagler, Braden Burries, Mike Brown Jr., Nate Amet, Labaron Fillon, Maxwell Litterborg, Haynes Steinbach, and then Kareem Lopez out of New Zealand, and then Chris Senek. So that's your top 15.
Israel, give me. You're just naming. Give me names, Israel. I know you're just naming colleges here. I don't know off the top of my head all these guys. I mean, I saw them during the tournament, but I didn't. And a lot of those games, if they don't perform very well, it doesn't stick into my head.
Yeah, because I'm looking like I don't think we need point guard, right? Because Giddey is solid. So I'm not wasting a top 4 pick on a non-starting position. So
Rightfully.
So I mean, if we could end up in the top 4 and end up with one of these like small forwards, so Caleb Wilson, AJ Dybonsta, Darian Patterson, I'm all for any of those 3.
I would probably go power forward combo or forward combo that can play both. I do like a forward that can play both on a power forward, being 6'9", 6'10", and be able to dribble the ball and shoot the ball as well. We know what the new NBA is now, right? It is up and down and be able to shoot the 3. But again, we do need some rebounders. Nick Richards and Zach Collins is not going to be the end all be all. And then not much that we can put into. Where's my other guy with the goggles? Where is he? You know what I'm talking about, right? Look,
I don't know who you're talking. I think I know who you're talking about. But why?
Jalen Smith. Jalen Smith. Yeah, Jalen Smith. And then I know LaQuan Olbrich had a good 3 games at the end of the season. I mean, he's 6'8", but he's no center. For me, a center's got to be 6'10" and above. And you're going to be playing against Wemby and all these big boys that are playing right now. There's no way you can be undersized at the beginning of the jump ball. So,
listen, to me, jump ball is not that big a deal to me.
No, I know that, but what I mean is
overall position. But I mean, if the guy's got the size, if he's a little bit heavier in weight, like they got Cameron Boozer here listed at 250 pounds. I mean, 250 pounds against Wemby, who weighs a feather. I understand Wemby is ridiculously tall, but I mean, if you can push him around with your weights, although I guess technically it's not the same NBA that we grew up watching, where you could use your size to move guys out of the.
You can box out. It's just you can't do other stuff. Let's see.
You can't be Dennis Rodman though. No, really being up in guys' faces and being annoying. Yeah. So when do we find out what the Bulls picks are? When's
during the finals. So you'll have the lottery during the finals. And then after the NBA is done, then they'll have the draft. So let me just pull that up for you. NBA
I pulled it up, but let's see.
lottery.
Not seeing a date here though. May 10th.
May
So in
10th.
about
That's next.
6 days. 6 days.
That's next week already. All right, so that'll be the lottery, and then we have a what? A 4.5 chance.
4.5% chance. Yeah, it's the number one pick. But like I said, if we can squeeze into that top 4, top 5, I think we could still walk away with a great player. Because some of these guys, like I said, I'm looking at their, scoring 20s. AJ Dybantsa scoring 26 points. Kayla Wilson 22.8 points. Some of these guys, like I said, I mean that would be great to add to the Bulls.
Yeah, I mean right now it's add some talent to the Bulls, and then right now we still need a coach and still need a GM. So I mean there's a lot of work that needs to be done. Again, like you said, May 8th through 10th is the G League Combine in Chicago. So you're looking in 4 days. It'll be here, I believe, at Moody Bible. And then you have the lottery on the 10th. And then they have the Combine from the 10th to the 17th, again, here in Chicago. First round, NBA first round, June 23rd. Second round, June 24th. So you have a month after that. So lots of time.
But I always love knowing, like, okay, what do we get in the lottery? Because then we can start speculating. Who we're looking at, and then you start getting into the possible trade ups, possible trade downs. We got plenty of second rounds if somebody wants to let us move up.
Yeah, we'll give you all 12 of them.
We'll give you them all of them.
Yeah, might as well get rid of them. All right. We did almost 30 minutes on the Bulls. Let's take a quick break. And on the flip side, we're going to talk about our Chicago baseball teams who are been doing very, very well for the month of April. Both North Side and South Side teams have been doing very well. So on the flip side of the break, we'll be right back and talk Chicago baseball. So don't go anywhere. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Hey there, Chicago enthusiasts. Are you ready to take your fandom to the next level? The True Chicago Sports Fan Podcast has got you covered with some serious cool merch that screams Chicago pride. From cozy sweaters to trendy tank tops, we got it all. Show off your love for the city with our iconic red, white, and blue logo, or stand out with our exclusive collection for the love of sports. Whether you're lounging at home, breaking a sweat at the gym, or cheering on your team at a game, our gear is a must-have for all you diehard Chicago sports fans out there. Don't hesitate. Visit bonfire.com/store/606-media-store/. Or simply just click the link in the description and snag your gear ASAP. Get ready to make some noise, show your pride, and embrace the Chicago spirit with True Chicago Sports Fan Podcast merch. Designed for you, the ultimate fan, for the love of sports. Hey guys, it's Steven.
And this is Sean, and you are listening to True Chicago Sports Fans.
Don't forget to listen to Nowhere on the Weekend. New episodes on Monday. You can find us anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Yeah, so we're going to go do a couple of shots. So let's kick it back over to Big Z.
Nowhere on the Weekend.
Back to True Chicago Sports Fan Podcast with Big Z and JC, Dynasty Fans Football. And it's time to talk about our Chicago baseball teams, which are doing very well. The Chicago Cubs, who are in first place as we speak right now, they're facing the Cincinnati Reds, who are 20-14, right behind the Chicago Cubs. And it is a 3-3 tie in the bottom of the 7th. A great game. Both teams are battling, trying to maintain in the standings here because the NL Central is the toughest in baseball at the moment, with everybody over 500. You got the Reds 2 games behind the Cubs. You got the Cardinals 2 games behind the Cubs, the Brewers 3.5, and the Pirates 3.5 behind the Chicago Cubs. Cubs have won, I think, 11 or 12 straight at home. The Cubs have just been hot. I think they're like 17 or 18-2 or something like that. And a crazy record. They're 14-5 at home, 87 away. Last 10, 7-3. So they've been just been kicking ass, kicking ass. JC, what surprised you in the last month about your Chicago Cubs?
I mean, the bats are finally coming alive, which thank God. What's surprising to me though is like we're still giving up a lot of runs. It seems like when you go back and look at some of these scores where it's 7-9, 4-12, 6-4, 8-7, 5-4. And I really thought the Cubs would have slightly better defense. Now, again, I understand sometimes it's home runs and things of that nature that you can't really control. But a lot of like 6-5, 8-4, where that's kind of not what you want to give up to opposing teams. So I think our bullpen still needs a little bit of work there. I know we missed out on Giolito, and everything, but it's one of those. I don't know if we can pull a trade this early in the season or we're gonna have to keep waiting. But I mean, P. Crow Armstrong looks like he's coming along the past couple week or two. His stats are improving. That's going to be a huge plus for us. Having him and paying him, what we paid him, we need his bat to come alive again.
Yeah, that's definitely something that needs to come alive when you're talking about one of your guys that's been paid so much money and being the face of your franchise. Surprisingly, right now it's Nico Horner. Nico Horner is batting over 300. He's got 10 doubles, 26 ribbies, OPS of 841. Ian Happ, 8 homers, 381 OPP, 893 OPS. Moises Ballesteros, your rookie, taking some swing. Yeah, he's got 6 home runs, batting 317. Again, he's learning the position of catcher because you need a position from because you can't DH him every day, but you need his bat in there every single day. Suzuki has warmed up in the last couple of weeks to 308, 5 homers, 922 OPS, and Swanson has been pretty good for you. 6 home runs, 24 ribbies, 755 OPS. Again, this is a surprising, and into my opinion, they're a better team right now than they were last year. I know last year they had a very tough opening schedule with going to Japan and opening 2 against the Dodgers, having some days off and then coming back and opening again. But right now, I feel this is a better and more complete team just because they've had 13 people, individuals, get on the IL, mostly pitchers. But you're looking at a team that's been resilient and been able to get out of the funk that they had. Right now, they're batting 261 as a team, and their ERA is high. It's at 401. That's what needs to be addressed. Like you mentioned, JC, it needs to be addressed, but you can't go look for pitching at this time of the year because what are you going to give up? What are you going to give up? You don't want to give up Ballesteros. He's way too young, and his bat's too potent right now.
Well, as you know, I've thrown the name out there that Shaw. Shaw's the guy to me that's kind of odd man out. But that being said, I was listening to, I forget it was The Score or whoever it was. But they say that they really like how Shaw's coming along, that he's starting to learn right field and be more comfortable. So you never know. And we still have Alcantara down in the minors who, about a week or two ago was, raking 430-foot home runs. So, that's, as I said, we were talking last week how it drives me nuts that the Cubs draft outfielders and nothing but outfielders. And then it's like you have a log jam in outfield that you can't bring these guys up and you can't use them in the lineup. And all these things, and then where's the pitchers that are coming up through the farm system? I understand Horton came up through the system, but like when you go look at our prospects in the farm system, it's like I think there's one other pitcher that potentially can come up either this year or next year. And so it's like, okay, that's not good enough. Like, and you and I have talked about how the Cubs are not very good at, bringing along pitching staff. Like your White Sox seem to be great. Now they pick very high and get some good pitching because they're picking pretty high. But
Even when they're picking 10 and 14, they still were able to identify great pitching. And that's the difference in
absolutely, but
organizational views. Yes.
But like I said, the Cubs, like they'll be picking in the 10s and 14s, and they draft hitters and outfielders.
Yep.
And I've talked about in the past, which I mean, I guess pitch framing is not as big of a thing now with the ABS system. So, because you and I have, for the past year and a half, I've kind of said like, I am so ticked off because we don't have a catcher that can pitch frame. Well, now with the new ABS system, that kind of is out the window now. I mean, you might still get a call here or there because, the ump calls it a strike and the batter's not willing to waste, the challenge.
Right.
So you can still steal some, but it's not what it used to be. Like a year or 2 years ago. Where some of these catchers, that were really good at pitch framing were able to, steal some outs, throughout a game. So, I've had the conversation with you where like, I was upset because I was sitting there like, yeah, we keep picking up all these veteran catchers and everything. Where are the young guys that are learning this whole pitch framing thing? And the Cubs didn't have anybody, and but the bottom line is, I would really love to see the Cubs start drafting some pitching, to supplement the log jam of hitters that they've been drafting for the past 5 years.
And like you said, it might be time to trade either Shaw or Alcantara, who are not going to be getting the bulk of the playing time. Obviously, you got Suzuki, who is in that 1 year, that arbitration year that he picked up the contract, and he's like, all right, cool, let's see what we can do. He's had some power flashes. He's driven in some runs, and when he's aggressive, he can be very dangerous. When he's not, it's not that great. He's also a middle of the road defender in right field. I think if you give Shaw the full year, next year, he can be above average, and that's all you need out of right field right now, because the other guys can't help him out.
Why can I not think of his name? Sorry, I'm currently looking up
Conforto?
No. I'm looking up because we're talking about trading some of these guys, right? And what came to my mind is, yeah, great. Like we're okay, we're gonna trade some of these guys, but then it's like, okay, look at what Cam Smith is doing right now, right?
Nothing.
At bats, 121 at bats, are 17 runs, 27 hits, 4 home runs, 17 RBIs. Great, right? I finally thought of his name. Owen
Cam
Casey.
Smith?
No, Casey, who we traded
in Florida.
Yeah,
he's not doing. He's cold. He might be sent down pretty soon.
Well, I know he had a little hot streak there at the beginning of the season.
First 2 weeks of the season, he was hot. He's been ice cold since.
Yeah. 94 at bats, 10 runs, 19 hits, 2 home runs, 15 RBIs. So yeah, I mean, Owen Casey, maybe not so much, but he was a true right fielder. I mean, and that's kind of what hurt when we traded him. Because that was the situation where it's like, okay, who are we putting in right field? So that's kind of the thing with me is, right, like, so we bring up these guys, they're supposed to be studs. We keep hearing about Cam Smith and Owen Casey and Shaw and all these guys that the Cubs are so excited about, and then we end up trading him, and then it's like, all right, a little bit of trader's remorse of how are they doing on these other teams of we could have really used them on the Cubs, kind of thing, but
I mean, what do
that's
you do?
part of
Are you going to trade?
the
You
deal.
going to trade Hap? Are you going to trade Hap then?
No, I wouldn't trade Hap. Well,
Okay then.
I mean, what Hap's on last year of the deal, I believe, and I mean they haven't redone a deal with him, so I feel like Hap might be walking.
Let's see. Ian Happ contract, 3 years,
Yep,
61 million.
I'm typing it in as well.
Through the 2026
Through
season.
2026, having signed a 3-year, $61 million deal.
Yep.
What is Ian Happ's age? Ian Happ age, because that's another thing you got to kind of factor in as well. He's 31, so I mean, not quite past his prime, but
Yeah, he's going to be 32 in August. That might be your move right there.
yeah,
That might be the guy that gets moved from the Cubs because you've got to continue to get younger and replace guys as they're
yeah.
at the
To
end
me,
of their peak.
yeah, like you said, it makes perfect sense potentially to trade Hap and then bring up Alcantara to replace him.
I mean, you're not going to replace Hap's glove right away. He's a Gold Glover. He's a team leader. He's been on the team for a very long time. But as far as currency, to be able to get a pitcher that can help you right now, Hap would be the move to move. You're packaging him with a low level A ball player, and you get a nice package back. Okay. Again, right now, if you like, we talked about the division, it's not going to be the Central Division that's going to be a trade partner because they're all pretty hot. You're going to have to look at maybe taking advantage of the Mets if they continue to spiral. They're 13-22. I know they've won some games since they made some moves. The Phillies fired their manager. They're 15-20. That'd be another avenue to try to pick off something. But against early teams can go on a 10-game winning streak. On the National League West, maybe the Giants and maybe the Rockies, you can make a trade with them, see what they have, and try to get a guy.
Twins, Royals, Angel, Rose so far, Mets, and Pirates, Brewers, Giants, Rockies. Those are the bottom of the standings right now.
But again, if you go on a 5-6 game winning streak, you're back in it.
Yeah, it's super early in the season to kind of put a team out there that's gonna be in the trade market right now because they're again it's super early.
Yeah, super duper early.
I mean,
all right,
what was it 3 weeks ago? We thought the Cubs were in last place, and we were screaming and cursing the Cubs, and now we're 2 games up. So things can happen.
All right, well, we got breaking news.
What's going on?
Just hit a bomb. It's talking about the South Side. Murakami just hit a bomb.
Oh my god!
Great timing, JC. Great timing. He just hit a bomb right now. It is 5-0.
I'll be honest with you, because I don't know why, but I always love Japanese players. And when Murakami was coming up, I was like, hey, we need a third baseman. Why not? And then he
would have
ends
been
up
cheaper
going
than Bregman.
Absolutely, and dude is crushing.
Dude is crushing the ball. He just hit his 14th American League leading home run. He's batting a little bit over 225 at the moment, 28, 29 RBIs. He's got a hit, a home run, and 2 at bats. I mean, he is just raking, and he's just been wonderful for the team. I think after the Padres series or during the Padres series, he took the team out, and they had some sushi all together as a team. He's literally engaging everybody on the team and becoming won with the team. And this is exactly what we were talking about with the White Sox. They're fun to watch. Okay.
But
We knew that
you
they
know,
were trash.
and maybe that's what attracts me to the Japanese players is that they are such like friendly, happy, like team oriented, and they want to be, even with Shota, with Shota when he showed up for the Cubs, everything was like he
Go,
fully
Cubs,
immersed
go. Yes.
fully immersed himself in the city and love for Chicago and everything of that nature. So, you know, it's a great thing for the White Sox. I mean, he's absolutely crushing the ball. And again, I mean, I have some envy that, again, I know we have Bregman and everything, but I kept sitting there like, man, like kind of would be nice to,
Well, the
'cause
rest of the
I
MLB
believe
is doubting themselves now.
but I believe doesn't he also play first base?
He's
Why
playing.
did I think
No, he's playing primarily first base for us. He is a natural
okay,
third baseman.
right.
Uh,
Yeah,
but we have a third baseman with Miguel Vargas, who's actually been pretty hot this month. He has lots of RBIs and key.
because it was one of those where I was like, well, we could kind of maybe replace Bush. Well, 'cause but because I really feel like Bush has kind of been struggling for us, I believe,
Yeah, Bush has been struggling for you guys. I mean, it'll
but
take some time. Like, it'll take some time.
how's the rest of the young bucks on the south side other than
Dude, it's been so much fun to watch. And pretty much what I've seen is kind of a trend where Murakami hits a home run and that Colson hits a home run. And if they don't get a home run, it'll be Vargas. They either get a home run or a bunch of RBIs. It's been a lot of fun. 22 runs in 3 games in the San Diego series, multiple home run games, starting pitching. We have one of the lowest starting pitching ERAs. I had that screenshot here. Boom, boom, boom. We have a 2.6 ERA from our starters that leads the MLB since April 3rd in 28 games. So that's your Eric Fetty, that is your Noah Schultz, I mean the pitching has been pretty great. Now the thing was it Davis Martin who was on the bump today, longest tenure White Sox, and he is literally dominating. He's like 28, 29. And I know on the radio they were talking about, well, you can flip him for a lot. Well, how about you keep a veteran on the staff that can mold the younger guys and teach them how to pitch and not just be flamethrowers? Because we know the White Sox can draft some flamethrowers. How about you have some actual Mark Burleys on there who can actually pitch and get out of jams and teach these young boys how to get through all that stuff. So that's him for me. I think a veteran pitcher definitely helps out on the staff. Again, it's 5-0 right now. The White Sox are 1 game out of first place.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're sitting third in the division,
Yeah, they're
16 and 18, and they're only 1 game back. So I mean, for as young of a staff that you have, and for your payroll as well, I mean, can't complain there. I mean, they're almost 500. Can't complain. Let the young guys eat, let them get reps, and let them keep doing what they're doing.
Yeah, and again,
I've told you, like, as a Cubs fan, like, I'm jealous of what your team does with the payroll that you spend. Because it's one of those where you guys are spending. I know you were like 86 million last year. I don't know what you're at this year, but I mean
we're in like the 25th or 28th. No, it's about 25th.
but I think you're over 100 mil this year.
Yeah, we're definitely over 100 mil, especially with our 2 contracts.
But I mean, again, the Cubs are spending double, and I think we have 4 more wins than what the White Sox have right now. So,
I mean,
like I said, I mean, for half the payroll to be only 4 games back of the Cubs, and be third in your division, 1 game back, that's not bad. Like if these young guys keep performing like they did at the end of the year last year, I mean, you guys might be first or second in the division.
if you take the amount of games that Colson Montgomery has played, I think it's like 108 or something. Don't quote me on that. Just top of the dome thing. He's got Aaron Judge numbers. If you take from when he got called up, or the last 2 months of the season, whatever it was, till now, he's got Aaron Judge numbers. He's got 30 something home runs, and his OPS is over 1,000 and all that stuff. He's got crazy numbers.
Yeah.
Give the
Oh wait,
time.
and let me throw this in as well. You got the number 1 pick in the MLB draft.
Yeah, oh yeah, and let's talk about that because there's been some rumors by some close to the owners. Yeah, close to the owners. Bob Nightingale putting stuff out there that Cholowski might not be the number 1 consensus by the White Sox.
Really?
Shut the fuck up. Let me tell you right now. He's hands down.
Who is he saying then is the number 1 consensus?
They're a kid in high school, a shortstop in high school. Why will we draft a kid out of high school that's not going to be up here for another 6 years when you can draft Cholowski that can be up here in 2 years and be able to help your organization right when the rest of the kids are coming into their own? It just doesn't make any sense, okay? And people are saying, oh, it's because of the slot money and he wants all this money. Let's put, at the end of the day, NIL, he's making a lot of money right now, okay? He's making money. So whether he'll break the record for the slot money. I think it's like 10.43 or something like that. Okay, you give him 1050, right? And then you use the rest of your slotted money to draft in the other rounds. At the end of the day, the White Sox have the cards. If they draft Cholowski, he can say, oh no, I'll go back to college. And now you put yourself in the position where you may get hurt. You may have a bad season. Now your draft stock falls. It also is 1 year less, 1 year more from reaching your first free agent contract. Why would you do that? So the White Sox hold all the cards here. And I'm telling you right now, there's no other choice rather than to draft Cholowski. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, I'm looking at the 2026 MLB draft consensus outlook, and just literally looking at it. You got Cholowski, shortstop UCLA at 1, Grady Emerson, shortstop Fort Worth Christian High School, Texas, number 2, Lackey, catcher, Georgia Tech, and then a right-handed pitcher, UC Santa Barbara, Jackson, Florida. So, again, pitching, everything like that matters. I understand that, Cholowski is quote unquote the number 1 guy, but again, maybe this is just the Cubs fan in me that it's like, that right-handed pitcher might sound pretty good.
For you guys, yeah.
Right, exactly. Because we never have pitching.
Yeah.
But
again, we have a lot of guys that are in the farm system and they're trying to get past the glass door, right? You got Braden Montgomery, who just got moved to AAA. He's faster than PCA. He's going to be your center fielder of the future. So there's guys that are coming up, but you got to protect that arbitration stuff. You got to see if they can handle being called up. I mean, he should have been called up last year into AAA, but they sent him down. Probably a confidence builder. Hey, kid, eat up this pitching in AA for a little bit for a month. Do another month in AAA, and in June we'll call you up to the big leagues and we'll put you in center field. Because the center fielding, the outfielders of the White Sox are just atrocious. I don't trust Luz Acuna Jr. right now. Benintendi, he's slow and old. He's got to go. Please trade him somewhere. And in the right field, it's been a carousel of players. I know Atanashi has been playing here and there, but he's not an outfielder. He's an infielder. Austin Hayes is out. He's out for 10 more days on the IL. Tanner Murray out for 60 days. Tristan Peters hit a home run the other day, pinch hitting for Benintendi. Jerry Kelenic, he got called up a couple days ago. He's a true left fielder. Derek Hill, like I talked about, Brooks Baldwin out for 60 days. Everson Pereira is out for 10 days. Austin Hayes, 10 days, like I said. So they have a very thin outfield. And you got some veterans on there that are getting a lot more playing time than they should be. But at the same time, let's start calling up these players off the AAA team, off the AA team, see what they can do. Give them a cup of coffee. If they stay hot and they help out the team, let's keep it moving forward. One thing that I'm still scared about is Kyle Teal. He got hurt during the WBC, and they said it was going to be a couple of weeks. And we're already into May, and this he's doing a rehab. They said 10 more days. I'd say keep him on down there a little bit longer. I know the other kid, he had a home run on both sides of the plate. Drew Romo, he's 6', 205. Kyle Teal's 5'11", 210. Carroll has been struggling at the plate. He might get sent down. He was your defensive catcher, but like you said, that ABS, he's been struggling with that. He calls a lot of pitches early, and then they have nothing to go by the end of the game. So he might get sent down. And if Kyle Teal comes back, you're going to see Drew Romo be the primary catcher, and Kyle Teal come in and get his feet wet and then come back and take care of business. So I think they really like Drew Romo because he's a switch hitter. Kyle Teal because he's a lefty. Edgar Carroll, just send him down. Just get his mind right and his bat right. Because right now, like, that's probably the only thing hurting him is his bat. Chase Mydroff has been up and down. Again, if you cannot prove what you're supposed to be doing, you're not producing what you're supposed to be doing, there's some kids in the minor leagues that are coming right behind you. His last 7 games, he's got 7 hits and 24 at bats. He's batting .292, so that's not bad. But we definitely need him to get hot. I think what else did I have? Let's see, Murakami hitting bombs. Vargas, I'm surprised that he's actually having a really good offensive year. He's there. Again, I said this is his year to prove or to disprove that he's going to be in the hot corner going forward. And if he continues to have a stellar year like he's had so far, he might be the third baseman of the future for now. Until you call up the kid, and either the kid takes over third base, Chalosky, or you move Mydroff to third, whoever has a stronger arm. So, yeah, the White Sox right now, they're fun to watch. We're looking to, if they play 500 ball the rest of the year, it's going to exceed everybody's expectations. But JC, next week is the Crosstown. Next week is the Crosstown at Sox Park. How do you see this going right now?
I'm hoping the Cubs crush you as always. That's always my hope, but
open dream over there, brother.
You know what? That's the funny thing is that over the years, like, even though the Cubs are supposed to be the better team, is that the Sox always find a way to ruin it for us, and I always go into it hoping that we crush you guys, but usually, the lesser team always finds, and I don't know if it's just the Cubs being disrespectful and being like, oh yeah, you're the little stepson of the family here in Chicago, and they overlook them or look at the team that they're playing next. But usually the Sox end up kind of turning the tide on us and making us look bad.
Yeah, they're always good games. For the most part, they are very, very good and entertaining games.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I miss the days when we were like in high school and college when there were more Crosstown Classic. It used to be 2 series of 3 games and whatnot. Now I think it's like 1 series of 2 games. So I wish there was more of a rivalry between us. Just because it's always fun for the city, and bragging rights and things of that nature.
We've got 3 at the cell in next week, and then you guys host us not until I believe August. It's gonna be a hot. That's probably gonna be tons of fight at Wrigley. Yep, August 17th, 18th, and 19th. So it is 6 games this year. I know they kind of like were trying to take it away from us and move it to 2 and 2,
like
and it
I
was
said,
during the
in
week.
years past, I know, we would have like 2 games, and it's like, come on, like the fans enjoy it, they love it.
They do
It's
love it.
always
Like
bragging
for
rights
my
for the city.
yeah, and again, I think we should play each other's 4 times. 3 game series, and let us play 4 times. The beginning of the year, like maybe once a month. I'd love it. The more we can play each other, the better it is for both teams, for both fan bases. It's just bragging rights. It's talking shit. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. But you know what? I'm gonna go. The White Sox take 2 out of 3 at home.
Again, I hope they don't, but like I said, I don't know why. Like it's like the Cubs with the freaking Brewers, man. It's like whatever can go wrong will go wrong, and somehow the Brewers always end up on top of us. So it's like, I don't put it past the fact that, but Cubs are on a streak right now. So hopefully the bats can stay hot and we can keep it moving.
Right now, Cincinnati's up 4-3 on the Cubs in the bottom of the 8th, and then your White Sox are up 5-0 on the Los Angeles Angels in the top of the 6th. So again, it's
Okay.
gonna be fun. I know we're a little, we're 10 days early, but it's still fun to start talking about that. And usually we do have Ivan on. He's a little busy and disposed today, but we'll bring it up next week again, and it'll be tons of stuff that we can talk about.
Oh, I'm sure Ivan will have plenty to say about
Yeah.
your White Sox. And
Well, he's watching both teams as much as I am, man. Now that I have Marquee on my Hulu, it's a lot easier to watch Cubs games, and I watch as many as I can. I have to find a different avenue to watch my White Sox, which is fine. And sometimes I get the other teams broadcast, but I'm fine with that too. And as long as I get to watch both teams, I'm perfectly fine. So again, I think if the power stays for the White Sox, they can compete in any series. Our pitching's been very stable, and then the back end can stay stable because the bullpen, yesterday against the Padres was Anthony Kay had a rough outing, and the bullpen came in and stabilized it. They can surprise a lot of people. It's going to be competitive. They're going to be a spoiler team. I don't expect them to still sniff around first place at the end of the season, but there's a lot of baseball to be played. This is only month 1 of a 6-month marathon, so we'll see what the White Sox continue to do in the next couple of months, and we'll stay on top of it for everyone.
real quick.
Yeah, go ahead. Hey, go ahead.
I think it's that time of year where I have to bring up, is it time for the Cubs to look for Trevor Bauer? You know what? We do this every year.
We do this
every year where we talk about, is Trevor Bauer an option for the Cubs? Because we're constantly looking for pitching help. He threw a 7-inning no-hitter for the Long Island Ducks, I think it was.
Did you see, no one celebrated with him?
Yeah.
It was just his catcher.
Well,
Yeah, well, he rubs people the wrong way, and that's probably why he's still out of baseball.
yeah, I was just looking at some articles, and it was who was it? Albert Pujols was saying, like, what he needs to do to basically get back in the MLB. You know what? At this point, I don't know that it'll ever happen. But hey, he's his own cat. He beats his drum to his own, whatever. But if the guy's willing to play for $1, it might be worth, kicking the tires.
It's worth the flyer. It's worth the flyer. That's all I'm saying. If it doesn't work out, you just cut him.
Yeah.
So,
we talk about it every year, and I just thought, hey, you know what? I heard he threw a no-hitter, and I was like, you know what? Let's bring it up. Why not? We bring it up every year.
Yeah. All right. I got nothing else. No backlashes this Saturday, but there's nothing really of.
I mean, there's a little bit of wrestling news there. I mean, we can discuss if you'd like. But how are you feeling one week removed from the Bears draft? Looking at what we drafted, or have you Have you calmed down a little bit? Have you accepted what we did, or are you still a little upset? You know?
The 5-7 stages of grief. That's exactly what you have to go through with this draft. I mean, I didn't want the wide receiver at that position. We've talked about it up to nauseam that we could have taken anybody else as far as a position of need.
Yep.
At the end of the day,
was out there. Yeah. So
we have
this,
to believe
and
what
this is why I'm bringing it up, because I was just on X looking at an article before we came on. There could be and this is from Ben Devine, Chicago NFL, on Twitter. There could be major D-line reset upcoming for Chicago next season. These players are owed $0 after this year. Austin Booker, Montez Sweat, Dio Odabayengo, Grady Jarrett, Jervon Dexter, Neville Gallimore, Contavia Street, Daniel Hardy. So basically all of your starters on your defensive line: Grady Jarrett, Dexter, Jervon Dexter, Dio, Montez Sweat, Austin Booker. All of them are $0 after this year. Now they might still have contract money, but it's zero guaranteed money. So it's one of those when the Bears tell you, "Oh, we're happy with the D-line we have, going into this year." Okay, but this is where the problem is that you did not look ahead and draft a defensive tackle, draft a defensive lineman in this draft, knowing next year that Jervon, Dio, Grady Jarrett, all these guys are going to be gone. Potentially.
That's going to be, and I don't know how much money you're going to have in free agency, but you're not going to have enough to address all of those needs.
We actually, well, I shouldn't say that. I mean, I know their cap next year, because Grady Jarrett is owed a lot of money. Dio is owed a lot of money. Sweat, that's a lot of money that'll be coming off the books for us in the way of contract money, especially guaranteed money. So just those three guys alone, it's probably $60 to $70 million in the way of owed money. Grady Jarrett's at like 18 to 20. Dio is between 18 and 20, and Sweat is around 20. So, like I said, you're talking about $60 million on that defensive line. However, again, we could have drafted a Caden McDonald, et cetera, to be future-proofed a little bit for next year. Instead, next year, we're going to go into the draft looking for these defensive linemen, when we could have been ahead of the game when this year was a deep defensive line draft.
I mean, there's going to be some movement around, obviously, with teams cutting players and
absolutely.
Not wanting to give them the extra signing bonus. There's going to be a lot of movement, and for me, right now, we seen what Ben Johnson has been able to do after 1 year, and his first year, he really had to test out what he had. Now he knows what he has. Now he can go full playbook and full carte blanche on what he wants to do. Dennis Allen, same thing. I think Dennis Allen's in a more tougher position because they're going fast on the back end and no pressure on the front end. We'll see how they can address that. There's like you said, $60 million worth of defensive non-pressure.
Yeah. And again, I money for next year, that'll be huge for us. Again, the overall problem that I have is that we could have solved some of these issues this year, because we kept sitting there like, okay, we could take Caden, like instead of taking Thieneman, we could have taken McDonald, and then ended up with Emmanuel McNeil Warren, because again, he was taken one pick after us in the second. So it's one of those where like I kind of still look at like we could have had Caden McDonald and Emmanuel McNeil, and then Roush and Xavier Thomas. Or even not had traded back and taken Logan Jones with the second pick in the second round. So again, it's a little bit, all over the place, but that's just my, quick little, I just wanted to touch bases, see if you were still like, cause I'm coming around on Sam Roush. I do like his film. So I'm coming around on him. Again, I think it might have still been a little high of, where we took him. However, again, knowing that Ben likes to run 13 personnel and 12 personnel, Komet is owed X amount of money and then will probably be gone next year. Roush kind of just slides right in. Give him a year in the offense to kind of get his feet wet, and then he can slide in and replace Komet next year. So I don't mind that. Again, Logan Jones, dude, you better be a starter right away. And then I was reading today, we've brought in 2 kickers.
That big boy.
The hefty lefty kicker, but then we also brought in Akers as well. The son of Cam Akers, who used to kick for I forget who, but we brought in his son as well. So Cairo Santos is going to have some competition this year, which I've been saying for years, bring in some young studs and make this guy earn it, because again, paying a kicker, $3 million, $4 million, $5 million a year, and he cannot make a field goal past, 51 yards. That's, to me, I'm sorry. Like I need the Bears to bring in some competition and at least push him. You know what I mean? I understand the rookies may not beat him out, but I need you to at least push him.
Yeah, and correction. David Akers.
Continue to push him, because the new NFL kicker, like if you're not hitting 55 to 60, and I'm not saying you need to make them all, but when you cross that 50-yard line, like Brandon Aubrey of the Cowboys, I mean, that guy's kicking freaking 60-yard field goals. What's his name? Little in Jacksonville was kicking 70-yard field goals, getting drug tested every other game. Like, give me a kicker that's being drug tested every other game.
Let's do it.
I understand Kairos super accurate under 40 yards.
That's soldier, yeah.
But great. You know what? We got a freaking offensive genius that doesn't want to kick field goals anyway. He wants to go for it on fourth down every single time, because because you believe in Caleb. And then we're sitting there screaming, "Take the points!"
Yes, early in the game, take the points. Early in the game, take the points.
I'm hoping that Ben learned that lesson last year.
Yeah, it cost us.
I agree. Look, late in the game, I am all for pushing or
going for the win.
Right.
Yeah.
But early in the game, take the points, put your team in the best position. Because, I mean, the Green Bay Packer game, I forget if it was prior to the playoffs or during playoffs. How many times did we go for it on fourth? And then I think it was like at least twice that we could have kicked the field goal and put like 6 points on the board. Instead, we went for it on fourth, failed, turned the ball over on downs. And then we're sitting there at the end of the game, and Caleb is having to be the Iceman and pull out miracles, when it's like, no. With that 6 points, we would have been ahead. We would have won the game without having to pull heroics. So again, I hope that that's all figured out, and that's basically all I need to say about the Bears this week. Now, if you want to transition to wrestling, what is all this rumor about Roman Reigns maybe no longer being in the WWE?
Well, he is going to take some time off. He was supposed to be a full-time participant, and it looks like they pulled him from some live events and over the summer. And again, this may be a health issue. He's still
I'm
battling
sorry,
with
sir.
chemo.
Did he not say you're going to see me more often?
Yeah, and then maybe his body said, "The fuck you are." Again, he's
I don't
dealing
know.
with
From what I'm reading is that TKO is looking to cut salaries and cut, whatever, and they're not happy with the amount of dates he's willing to work for the price they're paying. From what I've been reading, that's kind of what I've been reading is that
yeah.
they want him to do more dates for the pay. And he
Well, it's
basically
simple
said,
as
"No,
this.
I'm good being a
TK
part-timer making what I'm making."
TKO literally shot themselves in the foot. They took away the live events, right? They were kind of like the circus, going from town to town to town. If they were in Milwaukee tonight, tomorrow they'd be in Peoria. And it's like certain wrestlers, maybe you get one or two headliners, not the full slot of headliners, but you get them all working more dates. Also, it gives the new guys and new gals more reps. More reps in the ring equal less botches, less injuries. Okay,
But
so
those house shows, as you call them, I
yeah,
mean, that brought in more revenue.
it did. There's the amount of revenue that let's say like
And
the
again, I
Peoria,
understand the tickets,
8,000 people, but you're making merch. You're
yeah,
selling merch.
it's merch sales. It's even still, you might sell, because again, it's a house show. It's a dark match, whatever. It's not on television,
Right.
but even if tickets are $40, right?
Yeah.
You still have the casual fan who wants to take their kid to a match. They can't afford WrestleMania, but it's still one of those, like, the kid gets to see, again, I attended, a house show. I think it was on like a Wednesday night when I was a kid, and the lights were all down, like,
Yeah.
and I got to see Kane, and I forget who he faced, but I just remember Kane being one of the matches. And it was one of those where it's like, cool, like my dad didn't have to spend a fortune, but I still got to feel like, and as a kid, like, I didn't know that it was, a house show, that, like, I was just excited that, like, oh my God, I'm going to a WWE, event, so to me, it's one of those where, like, I think it's missed revenue, it's missed opportunity, especially, like, with like the NXT type stuff, where you want to build the talent and the roster.
Yeah, but they
But
want to build them like this, and that's the problem. It takes time.
yes,
There's
you
no
need
perfect
time on the
formula.
mic. You need time to run promos and learn how to do promos. You need time to, not only that, learn to work with one another
Yes,
and put on a
and
good match.
you
You
need
know what I mean?
those reps. You need to be enhancement talent for a while and getting your ass kicked by the older, like the CM Punks and the Roman Reigns at a house show. But you're in the ring with one of those future Hall of Famers. They released Alba Fire, Aleister Black, who he's a great worker. They just never gave him anything. Alex Shelley, another phenomenal wrestler. Andre Chase was in NXT for a while, just never broke out. Apollo Crews got lost in the shuffle. Bo Dallas, Uncle Howdy. Why? You just had a whole year long thing of with the MFTs, my families, the Samoans, and they got rid of Bo Dallas, who's a really good wrestler, a really good dude, and can still do the Bo Dallas thing if you just could have kept him. Carly Bright, another NXT, Chris Island. Oh, he was on that show. Chris Sabin, a great veteran, a wrestler, just a phenomenal wrestler.
Yeah,
Dante
I, I,
Chandler.
I think I think the overall gist of it is that TKO needs to stop looking at the advertising and money and put on a good show. Because if you put on a good show, the money will follow.
Yeah.
The merch sales will come. The people will come. The bottom line is that you and I discussed last week the WrestleMania. Dude, putting on 50 minutes of matches and then
60 minutes
double that of entrances and promo and commercials is not cutting it for the wrestling fan.
Dude,
Because if I'm going to pay for a subscription or a pay-per-view or whatever, like, I'm sorry, I want to see 2 hours of entertainment, not commercials.
it is so bad because now it's just like the NFL where they're on different platforms for different shows and you got to get different subscriptions. It's so bad. And then you look at like Zoe Stark, who literally shattered every ligament in her knee last year, finally gets cleared last week, gets released on April 24th, right after she got permission to go back in the ring. Zelina, obviously she's married to Aleister Black, but great talent. Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, the New Day, got let go. Not so much they asked for their release. I'm sorry. They renewed their contract last year.
Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they ask for their release? Because
you want less money. Yep.
There, not even that. There's no tag team division in the WWE. So what is the New Day doing? They're nowhere to be seen. They're not getting ring time. They're not, you know what I mean? Like, I would ask for my release as well.
Well, Xavier was hurt and had surgery. Kofi was still on.
But again, like
every week.
We talk about this all the time, where we grew up in an era with the Hardy Boys, the Dudley Boys, you know what I mean? Like tag team matches, even if it was like the Rock and Sock connection with the Rock and Mankind, or it be Austin and somebody random, because there was a feud and, two guys needed to team up with, whoever. There was always tag matches back in the day. Now, all of a sudden, it's like one-on-one matches all the time. And I understand, like, there's been a huge resurgence with Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, which they've been putting on great shows. I'm sorry, Bella Twins, I wish you all the best. You're past your prime. I'm sorry. I'd rather see some of the younger talent than what you're putting out there.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Like Charlotte Flair was literally flopping around, not knowing what to do, lost her confidence, and they're like, "Well, pair up with Alexa Bliss. She's pretty hot right now. As far as she just came back, she just had a baby and whatever."
Yeah, and they kind of didn't know what to do with Alexa and Charlotte, so it was kind of one of those like, all right, let's we don't know what to do with these two right now. Put them together, and look at that. The fans took it and loved it. Yeah. Again, it's one of these where, some of the talent, and again, I think it's TKO is trying to put less matches on TV and more commercial time, where it's one of those where it's like, listen, man, like, where's Bailey? Where's so-and-so? Like,
I can't wait. If Bailey gets released, it's over, bro. Because she is one of the best workers, best on the mic. If she goes over to any other wrestling organization, she's going to be top dog.
But again, it's the ridiculousness of what are you doing with your talent? And I'm pretty sure it's not Triple H's decision. I'm sure this is coming down from TKO. But I mean, Rock, aren't you on TKO? Like, isn't the Rock a partial owner and whatever? Like, dude, stand up and freaking say something, because whoever's on the board at TKO, they're ruining the product right now.
I literally typed in TKO into Google right now. The first thing came up is, why is TKO ruining WWE?
Yeah.
Because they're looking at short-term profit over quality. And they're going to turn everybody off from WWE and they're going to go over to AEW. I'll tell you right now, AEW is going to absorb talent.
I'm sorry, like I don't think AEW is any better.
No, I think they lack
I understand like AEW, like their matches are more gruesome. They're more, like the Moxley and Darby match where like he's literally drowning him in a fish tank and like some of that stuff. Like I don't need all that. You know what I mean? Like,
No.
It's one of those like, look, I under chairs and ladders and kendo sticks and some weapons and stuff. Like I don't mind like a
why, but there has to be a why for it. These guys cannot get along, cannot see each other. They can't have a regular match over 3 months. You know what? No holds bars. Though you do it as a one-off. Okay, after this, you
right.
two. There has to be.
Like I remember, back in the '90s where it was, the Dudley Boys and whatever. It was like a backstreet or backstage brawl.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they were throwing people into like the sound carts. They were throwing them into ramps and like doors and using fire extinguishers and trash can lids and like all kinds of stuff that was backstage. You know what I mean? And I do miss some of that stuff, and again, we talk about because I don't have Netflix and I can't watch, WWE live every week. So maybe I miss some of the backstage antics and stuff rather than just seeing the matches.
Yes, you do.
But
right now, Danhausen is.
Oh yeah. I've seen a lot of the Danhausen stuff on Instagram and whatever. But again, those are like interviews and vignettes and stuff, rather than like people being attacked backstage and like that, like then their matches later on in the evening. You know what I mean? Like how many times did Stone Cold attack, Vince McMahon in the hospital? One of my favorites of all time, Booker T and Stone Cold in the grocery store.
The grocery store. That's literally the best outside the ring match or whatever of all time. That is slap your knee, piss your pants funny. And that's all done in one take.
Yeah. And again, to me, it's one of those where like I'd rather watch that than see all the advertising on the ring, see all the like Prime on the side of the ring and on the walk path. And
what do you think this UFC match, a UFC thing every single Saturday? Because they're $4 billion in debt. TKO Group Holding is $4 billion in debt as of 2025.
They paid a lot of money for WWE, and again, they are ruining it.
Well, we'll see what happens at Backlash. I don't have high expectations for this pay-per-view. They're bringing back John Cena again for an announcement now.
Wait, what? That's news to me. I didn't hear that.
John Cena posted on his social media that he's coming back to Backlash. It is in Tampa, so he lives in Tampa.
Well, I don't know if he's doing any movie roles, but hey, maybe he can be the new GM or new creative. Give him a role, and let's figure this out, right? Because if he's not working in making the next series, if he's not making a movie, if he's not busy, like get him on the creative side. Like I don't want to see John Cena in a ring again.
No, we don't need to see him in a ring, but I do agree with you. He should be behind the scenes on the creative side. He gets it. He gets it. He gets it. He understands how to put a match together. He understands how to give you why. He understands how to tell a story. I still haven't finished the Undertaker and John Cena interview. That's probably for tomorrow on the way to work to finish it. But the biggest thing was like when Vince McMahon calls the Undertaker, like, "Oh, you're gonna come back for another match, and it's gonna be against John." And they were unsure if the Undertaker was gonna make it, and John was just gonna be a fan outside. If he doesn't come, he doesn't come, and John Cena's drunk on the side. Excuse me, but the Undertaker's like, yeah, he got into the best ship of his life, and Vince is like, "You've got 5 minutes, kid. That's all you're doing." And Undertaker's, you're shitting me. You're ribbing me. No way in hell. The two biggest stars Undertaker and John Cena are only getting 5 minutes. He's like, get John over here. Hey, bring John in. He's like, yeah, we're doing 5 minutes. And he's like, what are you talking about? So Vince gets his way, and he's over here talking to John, like, why are we only doing 5 minutes? He's like, because all I've been doing is talking shit about The Undertaker for 3 months. And I've been poking at the bear because I didn't win the Royal Rumble and I didn't win Elimination Chamber. And what's the next biggest thing to get on WrestleMania is to mess with The Undertaker. And no one thought you were coming back. And that's going to be the big surprise. You come back, I get in my gear, and you come back, the lights turn off, the place is going to blow the roof off. You're going to come and kick my ass in under 5 minutes and be dominating. And that's the story. No one should fuck with The Undertaker.
Yeah.
That's how you tell a story.
Yeah. But again, there's all that stuff is lacking right now. And again, I've talked to you where it's like, I've said for a while that, I look at the roster, we've talked about this, I don't know how many times, but like I see a bunch of B player, roster guys. Like I don't see the Shawn Michaels, the Undertakers, the, Rocks, the, whatever. I think there are guys that can become that, like Braun Breaker and some of these guys I think can become that, but as of right now, I look at a lot of these guys as mid-card guys. I've had this conversation with you before that like Cody Rhodes, like when I watch him wrestle, it doesn't wow me.
He wrestles pretty safe and pretty like, I mean, again, those old school wrestlers that we're talking about had the same routine mostly for their matches, right? You knew exactly when, Shawn Michaels is stomping his feet, going for swing jig music, or when he would go against the ropes and he would flip over and come all the way over and flip again and whatever. Ric Flair, he would fall face forward. Like everyone has their little routine and gimmick.
Correct.
I get that. But I know what you're saying. He needs to turn heel and get a different gear going.
I do. I agree with you. Like
it should be coming soon.
like get not to be that way, but like get a little William Regal in you, get a little Eddie Guerrero in you, lie, cheat, and steal. You know what I mean? Like get a different edge to you that makes you a little dangerous. You know what I mean? Like again, like when I watch him wrestle, it's so vanilla.
It is. I mean, he does have some matches, like whenever he tore off his pectoral muscles, and he had that match with
Listen, I give the man respect. I mean, he puts his body on the line. Like he's got the broken orbital bone on his eye that, his eye was all black and blue and everything. He tore his pectoral muscle. He puts his body on the line and he wrestles through it. Absolutely 100%. I give him his respect on that. But again, when it comes to his matches, like, I don't know. Maybe it's because, again, I grew up watching like Mankind, right? Getting thrown off the top of a cage or, whatever. Where it's the high points of some matches are so great. The Shane O'Mac matches, there are some high, the Hardy Boy matches, so, like the Dudley Boys, like even some of that stuff, slamming Mae Young through a table, like there's such high points. And then when I watch Cody, it's just like vanilla.
You got to remember they're wrestling a lot less. When you wrestle a lot less, you're more susceptible.
Yes, and I also understand it's, WWE went through a huge thing for like safety and, people not getting hurt and concussion protocols and everything else. Listen, I understand, like, hey, chair headshots, I'm all for 100% that being taken out. But you could still hit somebody in the back. You can still, put their ankle in the chair and stomp the chair. You know what I mean? Like there's still stuff that you can do with objects that, are not really risk adverse, the toilet pan when Vince McMahon got hit in the head in the hospital by Steve Austin with a toilet pan. One of my favorites. Kurt Angle coming out with a milk truck. One of my favorites. Steve Austin coming out with a beer truck. One of my favorites. There are gimmicks. Steve Austin dropping cranes on Vince McMahon's Corvette, or them filling Vince McMahon's Corvette with concrete. There are plenty of things that I miss from when I was a kid that I feel like that add to the story, that now it's like they do these backstage interviews and then they go wrestle. Like there's no like bad blood. Why is this happening? Why do they hate each other?
So why? Why are we doing this? Why do we hate each other? Why are we fighting? There has to be a why. Then you dissect the why and you spread that out along for that dynamic. All right. Simple. Here's one of my biggest things that I'm loving right now. The Grande Americano. You had Ludwig, who was part of what is his name? The guy who retires everybody.
Gunther.
Gunther. He was part of Gunther's thing. Had nothing to do. Right? You have Chad Gable gets hurt.
Yep.
They make him the Americano. He goes out to Mexico and becomes fully immersed in the Mexican culture. Learns how to speak in Spanish. Is out there week after week wrestling out there and still wrestling on Raw. And he has his two boys who are now dressed in mariachi, stuff like that. And I still haven't seen it. It was a mask versus mask. The original Grande Americano versus El Grande Americano. And Ludwig, who was supposed to be just a rib kind of thing, like, oh, we've got nothing to do, put the mask on this guy. And he turned that shit into gold. And right now, he is so loved in Mexico. Like, they boo the fuck out of Chad Gable, and he's the original guy. Chad Gable's an Olympic gold Olympic medalist. Like I don't know if you've seen him lately when he came back from injury. He is shredded. He's just a machine. American Grande Americano, who's Ludwig, another kid that was just like shredded. He got in trouble because he was messing with Charlotte while he was with another girl, one of the other wrestlers, which became a storyline that came out by accident and Charlotte didn't like. All that shit. And that happened in Chicago when I was there. I remember when Charlotte got stuck, couldn't say anything. But again, you sometimes you get a shit gimmick and you turn it into gold. The New Day was all about preaching, and they made that shit into gold. It's up to the wrestler to do something.
I think part of the New Day problem was once Big E got hurt. Like I really think that hurt them as well. From a dynamic of the whole New Day and everything. But again, I feel like when we were kids, like there would be like eight wrestling matches a night. Now they're down to like 4 to 5.
Yeah, and then the women's stuff is cut too, and some of those women can out wrestle the men.
Which again, I'm for the women. I love it because I personally think some of the women's matches are better than the men's matches nowadays.
Much more creative. Much more creative.
Like I would much rather watch Sol Ruca and some of the stuff she is doing rather than freaking who we just been talking about. Cody Rhodes. I would much rather watch Sol Ruca than Cody Rhodes.
All right, look, I'm going to give you the men's division. Akira Tozawa. You have no idea who he is. Okay, I know who he is, but you don't. Angelo Dawkins. You know who he is?
Nope.
Okay. Austin Theory.
Again, like I've admitted, like I'm kind of a casual fan.
So I know, but I want to get to my point right. I want to see. You know who Austin Theory is?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. Braun Breaker.
Yes.
Okay. Obviously, no CM Punk. Let's see. Dominic Mysterio, Dragon Lee, the Americanos. I just went over that.
Yep.
Finn Balor, Grayson Waller,
Finn, Gunther.
Jacob. Jacob Fatu.
I know Fatu.
Fatu's he's gonna be a star. He's gonna be a star. Javon Evans.
Who is Fatu's cousin that just got to the WWE? There's another person in the bloodline that is
Fatu
within
is
like
the
the past year.
Fatu is the cousin of the Usos.
Right, but I'm not talking about the one who's the other, OTC of the bloodline, because that's is that who's that one? He was doing the bloodline while Roman was out for a little while.
Oh, Solo Sikoa.
Sorry, I'm Solo, and then yes, the person I am thinking is Fatu.
Yeah, Fatu came in a year and just turned the whole thing around, and he's been great. Let's see, Javon Evans, a young kid. I know you've seen him, not to know him, but let's see, Joe Hendry.
I know Joe Hendry, yes.
Okay, because it's just a gimmick. Have you seen him wrestle? Probably not.
Yeah, he's kind of like, to me, he's kind of like a Danhausen, like kind of like, he'd say like what is it? Say his name and he appears kind of thing. So
that's exactly what it is. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
And then he does some singing gimmicks and whatever.
It's a shtick, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, the Usos, LA Knight, Logan Paul, Montez Ford is the one you don't know because he's the one paired up.
No, I don't know him.
He's the one paired up with Angelo Dawkins. Okay. Obafemi.
I know of him, yes.
Okay, Otis.
I feel like if I see a photo of him,
pretty good. You would know him. Okay, Penta,
yes.
Mysterio, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, how about Rusev?
Yes, I know Otis. Yes, I just looked him up.
Okay, Rusev. Do you know Rusev?
Yes, but he was in AEW for a while, and now he's back. Right?
He was with WWE. Then he went to AEW. Now he's back.
Yeah,
that is your male roster.
That's it.
I mean, that is the. I'm assuming this is just the Raw side. Yes, that is just the Raw side.
Okay.
The Raw's your flagship show.
Yeah,
remember that. So, I mean, if you go to the SmackDown division, people that you would know would be.
You know what? And I think that's part of the problem as well, is that back in the day where it was everybody was on Raw, and then like they created SmackDown kind of at the end of my childhood, and kind of water things down. I think that's part of the problem as well, is that like it's this where you could create so many more different layers and matches and things in those like Attitude Era, because everybody was on Raw. Like it wasn't the same.
It wasn't until they went to the split the division, the brands, where it was Raw versus SmackDown.
Right.
But when it became,
and I think that might be like they got to rethink that.
Yes, they do. At this point, they do. But when SmackDown was being run by Stephanie McMahon and Paul Heyman as head writers, that's when SmackDown started beating Raw. And Vince did not like that. So then Vince would take some of the talent that's doing very well, like your Eddie Guerrero, your John Cena's, who were coming up through that SmackDown through Paul Heyman and doing well because there's stories. There's wrestling, but there's stories. And then took them to Raw. And that's what ended up happening. So right now, you don't have any stories. And you have a lot of guys, and there's no stories of why are we fighting, okay? On SmackDown, Cody Rhodes. Oh, yeah, of course. Of course, Jose. Cody Rhodes, Damon Priest, Drew McIntyre, Gunther, Matt Cardona, or you know who he is. The Miz, R-Truth, Randy Orton, Sami Zayn.
But like for me, right? Like I want to like, oh my, like if we could pull the two, like SmackDown and Raw back together and just make it WWE again, where like again, you don't know who's going to show up night to night. The whole roster is available, and hey, like, and there's like the wrestlers know where they need to be. If they need to be somewhere on a Monday, this wrestler needs to knows they need to be somewhere on a Thursday or a Friday with,
Mhm.
look, I am all for that, because like to do a skit with Danhausen and R-Truth, like I think would be hilarious.
Gold.
You know
Oh,
what I mean?
they did. R-Truth was calling Danhausen Ashka, because she paints her face like
Yeah.
the
But you know what I mean? Like to me, to have like R-Truth interact with whoever, or Randy Orton wrestle, somebody on like Braun Breaker who's on Raw. Like to me, it's one of those, having them separate, especially now that there's not enough talent, in my opinion, to really have two separate shows. Like during the Attitude Era, yeah, great. Like you have all this plethora of talent to create two shows. To me
here's
now,
what I want. Yeah, you know what I want you to do?
condensed.
I want you to make Raw 3 hours instead of 2 hours. Fuck that Netflix. It's Netflix. Like, why do you have a time period? One, that bothers the shit out of me. It's Netflix. Two, put all your top stars on Raw. All of them. Your men and your women, your top stars. Right?
I mean,
take your
to
Braun
me, like
Breaker-
you still want to make SmackDown relevant, right?
No, I know that.
And that's why I said, like, hey, if so and so crosses over to SmackDown, there's going to be for those SmackDown people that are watching live. Oh my God, so and so's here tonight, and they'll be super excited for it. Or oh, Randy Orton's on Raw tonight, like, and then the people in Raw are going to be super excited because they get to see Randy Orton. It's almost like the NBA, right? I'm paying for a ticket to watch the Lakers, and then LeBron sitting out, AD sitting out. You know what I mean? And it's kind of one of those situations where when I want to go see a show, I want to see the top talent. I want to see great matches. So for me, having them separated, having them all of that nature, like, ruins it for me a little bit, because again, back in the Attitude Era where you had Kurt Angle and Undertaker and Kane, and I mean, there was so much talent back in the 90s. And now it's like, again, I keep saying it, the talent is watered down a little bit right now. I don't think that, again, when you look at that Attitude Era, there were so many people that could put on a good match. The Guerreros, everybody.
I was out of SmackDown. Los Guerreros came out of SmackDown. That's what I'm
Bret
saying.
Hart, the Hart Foundation. You go back and look at that Attitude Era, and there was just so much talent. Now you look at everything and it's like, and again, maybe that's why there's more commercials, because they sit there and look at their own talent and say, well, this, we don't really have that good of talent. And, like you said, like the men's roster for Raw is like 15 guys. And it's like, okay, how do we continue the storyline? How do we keep, who's going to be in a feud with who when we have 15 guys and it's going to get stale?
Oh, well, there's more. I just didn't name a couple because I know you didn't know them for sure.
But you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. But
to have it.
How many times did we talk about LA Knight being over with the crowd, but then he fucks up, right? He botches something, and now you're getting moved down in the ladder again
to the mid card,
to the mid card.
But again, like for me, it's one of those with the product being the way it is, to bring the two SmackDown and Raw together. Forget the two shows. It's all WWE. And I understand, like, you have Netflix paying for Raw, you have so-and-so paying for SmackDown. It's two different streaming services. I understand all of that. To me, what I am saying is, I don't care. You are paying for the WWE product, not the talent. Correct? As a streaming service. Do you not want to see us put on the greatest show that we can put on? If that means Randy Orton is going to cross over to Raw and Braun Breaker is going to cross over to face somebody on SmackDown, I am all for it, because that opens up more of a story.
Yeah.
Rather than this, and again, even if it's more SmackDown versus Raw, like, they're feuding with each other kind of thing, and they're crossing brands, I'm all for that as well.
As long as there's a why and there's a good story, because people remember stories, nothing else. Oh man, that Mucinex is definitely putting in time right now, finally getting all this stuff out. But yeah, this is fun talking wrestling, man. This is great. I mean, right now
I was gonna
we
say,
know
we're almost at 2 hours here, so
yeah,
we've
that's
got
how it always
going
happens when we
on.
start talking wrestling. I mean, we do well. The clips do well on wrestling. So again, it's gonna be a good event this Saturday. I am going to watch the Americano versus the original Americano on YouTube probably tonight as I'm cutting tape, and watch Raw. I'm got a lot of stuff to watch, and I'm still coaching for 2 more weeks. So I'm going to be up till 1 in the morning cutting this up, and if anything else breaks, you can count on us to cover it on True Chicago Sports Fans. What
We
you
do
got?
have a little breaking news before we leave.
Oh no,
Cubs win.
no, they came back.
Cubs win 5-4. So
Oh.
so the win streak continues.
It did not update. There it is, 5-4. It just stood there. It kind of, I guess that page just froze. White Sox
Yeah, it looks
are
like
0.
Saiya Suzuki, two hits, 3 RBIs, 1 home run. So Suzuki
Vargas
is your player of the game.
Yep. Vargas hit a home run today. So anytime Murakami hits one, Mooney, someone else hits one too. So I like that. Yeah. Also, the White Sox did sign Randall Gertrick, just some outfield depth. He was released from Colorado or somewhere else. Just another journeyman. I'm telling you right now, that outfield is nothing but journeymans, and they're just waiting. All right, this was fun. Always good talking wrestling, talking Chicago Bears, talking what we have a comment in there? Oh, you didn't put anything in there, Jose. Talking Bears, talking Sox, talking Cubs, talking Bulls. Lots of fun. Again, you can catch us here on True Chicago Sports Fans for anything that breaks. We will be back.
I guess wait, before we sign off, one more thing.
Yeah.
What is going on with the Chicago Sky?
I didn't want to get into that. I did not want to get into that because they drafted 2 players and then cut them. And
not even traded. They cut her, correct?
Just cut her. Yeah. And then the girl that had 20 points coming off the bench, they cut her for another veteran that doesn't have that kind of production. I can't remember their names right now.
Like we paid, Van Lith, I believe we drafted pretty high, 11th, I think it was, or something like that.
I think that might have been the girl with 20 points coming off the bench. Yeah.
First round, 11th pick or something like that, and we cut her.
Yeah.
Because, quote unquote, her play style or something doesn't match what they want.
The Chicago Sky are the worst run organization in Chicago.
Listen, I'm saying this, like, I understand why we got rid of me bounds. Okay. I was fully on board with that one.
Yeah.
But again, like, I don't understand what this, you're telling me the 11th overall pick that you drafted last year, you couldn't trade and get some capital back? You just cut her? That to me is, I just needed to bring that up real quick.
They have no idea what they're doing. They don't know how to evaluate talent. They don't know how to run an organization. Sell the fucking team. Sell the team. All right, y'all. That is it for today. A late night edition of the True Chicago Sports Fans Podcast. Probably 2 more late night editions as I'm still coaching. And thank you to the listeners, our watchers, our subscribers, our supporters for sticking with us for over 300 and some change episodes. Thank you to our sponsors, 606 Media and True Chicago Sports Fans. Again, you can check us out on all of our socials. I'm going to get it one day right. And, if you got somewhere, hit us up on the DMs. You got some questions. You want to debate with us. JC loves to argue. So look at his handle right there at the JC Dynasty Fantasy Football on the X. He loves to argue, especially if you're Canadian.
I love arguing with the Canadians.
Yeah. Always bacon and maple syrup. True Chicago Sports Fans at gmail.com if you're looking for us to do a live event at one of your bars or a location. We are up for hire. We need some money. And if you want to support us by advertising on there as well, get in contact with us and we'll have a meeting. All right, for JC, I am Big Z, and we'll see you next time for episode 303, I believe it says. I think I'm going to stop counting. Is it okay to stop counting?
I still like to know like what we've been doing, you know, which I understand. Like it's not the true number anymore because we've done so many live, you know, episodes and things at bars and that we didn't technically number. So we're probably closer to like 350, but you know, it's nice to have like that, like, hey, we hit 300, you know, or, you know,
the episodic side. Yeah. The episodic side I mean, we're pretty over like 320, 325 easily with the episodic, with those in between emergency podcasts and stuff like that. But and then the lives for the Bear season, that was great. Thank you for everybody that's been showing up and supporting us. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we got like over 400 episodes somewhere.
Yeah, we definitely have to find a venue. Maybe not every week, but you know, on those like Bears, Packers, you know, whatever. It would be nice to have a venue that we can, you know, get out, mingle with the fans, you know, do our thing, and you know, maybe bring out some former Bears players and you know, talk with them. You know, I would still love to interact with Big Steve. Haven't had a chance to mingle with him. You know, I know he's a big bourbon guy. I'm waiting. Steve, I want to talk to you and meet you. You know, because again, like I would love to, you know, just I'm one of those people like I have so many questions for like Steve that, you know, locker room questions, you know, stuff like that, that I feel like would be awesome to have conversations with him.
That was probably one of my biggest angles when I got to work with him, was asking him as a locker room leader, as an offensive lineman, as this, as that, someone who's played for so long. What is the mindset here? What are you seeing here? Watching a game with him, you have to step. You can't be in the close proximity because he is so in love with the game and in so in love with the Bears that he gets frustrated from play to play. And, you know, he's over here dissecting the line and what they should be doing. And it's a lot of fun.
But then again, like then you have Ivan who's out in his car watching on his cell phone.
Yeah.
So it's like me and you, it's just like, all right, we can kind of temper our, like, yes, we get frustrated. Yes, we get animated, but it's one of those, like, we can still hold it together.
Yeah.
And again, I know like during last year that, you know, I was kind of, you know, a lot of my friends say like I'm a Debbie Downer, you know, like but it's one of those, like, I have a very analytical, like, level head. I'm not a super fan, like, where no matter what, the Bears are the greatest thing. No, if I see something that I don't like, if there's an issue with the team, like I said, I'm going to call it for what it is. I'm going to say what I have to say. You know what I mean? People can look at it like, oh, you're negative.
No,
listen, I'm saying it for what it is. You know what I mean? Like I said, like the Xavier Thomas pick. Look, I hope the kid pans out. I hope he absolutely comes in with his 4.28 speed and absolutely destroys the Packers and, you know, scores some 60-yard bomb touchdowns, right? But I'm looking at it realistically where, look, everybody had him on a consensus draft board in the 6th round, and we took him in the 3rd or 4th. And it's one of those, like, why did we take him when we could have taken him 2 rounds later or a round later? Or is it because we didn't have a pick in that round that, you know, we took him then and there because we knew he wouldn't be there by the next pick we had? Like, and that's where, to me, like, I'm going to call it as I see it, because again, when you're picking somebody 130 picks earlier than, you know, consensus has them, it kind of makes me question, like, what is Ben Johnson seeing that I'm not seeing, that the consensus isn't seeing?
Right.
So,
Or are they trying to get ahead of the curve? Right.
yeah.
We'll find out during all the training camp and all that stuff that's happening very, very soon. All the OTAs and all that's coming up very soon.
Oh. One last thing. I know we have tickets to see the Savannah Bananas in June.
Yes, sir.
So we'll be sitting somewhere in the 200 level on the first base side. By the time I got logged in and everything, the only seats available left were in the 200 levels. So we'll be under, the awning or under the upper deck. Like I said, when I signed in almost exactly at 10 a.m., which might have been a little late, but tickets went on sale at 10 Eastern or 10 Central time. So by the time I signed in at 10, I was kind of like, how are all the tickets gone already?
Yeah.
Especially for 3 days of events. So again, I got what we could. We got 5 tickets at $40 a piece. So that should be a fun time.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun time. I had a good time last time when it was at the South. It did thunderstorm crazy, but they were still entertained the entire time. So I've already got a hat. I'm excited to see what new gear they have. It's always gonna be a good time, and it's the Savannah Bananas, man. It's the Harlem Globetrotters of the baseball.
Yeah, it'll be interesting once we actually finally have a team here in Chicago. I know they're working on getting
snowball.
a team. Yeah,
Snowballs. Yeah.
yeah, but they're not established yet.
Oh no.
Yeah. So once they have an established team, it'll be kind of interesting because then you can attend more games. You can, kind of, where this is a one-off, kind of event. Also, I don't know where the Snowballs will be playing, but that'll be also interesting to find out what venue or where they'll be, doing their thing.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I don't know. That's still up for grabs. All right, JC. I think
maybe guarantee Ray Field and the White Sox are moving.
Yeah, in 5 years. Yep, I love it.
So
all right, JC. Let's get out of here. I've got to cut up some tape and process all this, and shower and take some more mucinex because I'm wheezing already.
All right,
almost done with this. All right, for JC, I am Big Z. We'll see you next week for episode 303 or until something else happens. But until then, be good to each other for the love of sports.